just tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Billy Jones, 43 years old, born and raised in Alaska. I grew up initially out in the Butte, Palmer area as a child, teenager, and then all across the Mat-Su Valley. Just a born and bred Valley boy. I grew up in an alcoholic home, an alcoholic father. My dad's been in recovery for 34 years, I think. I have a sister. The second is my brother, and I'm the youngest out of three. My sister also struggled with drug addiction and alcoholism throughout her life. She's got a little bit over 10 years of sobriety now. And my brother popped out in the middle of square. Great career, great father, great husband, and definitely doesn't reflect either side.
What do you think is unique about growing up in the Valley?
I would say that, I don't really know. I can't really compare to other places because I haven't seen anything but what's on TV and what people have told me. I would say the freedom and the naiveness, compared to kids that grew up down in the States and the cities and how dangerous life was on the streets. I grew up in a small town. You got to play. You didn't have to worry about all that bullshit. Got to enjoy life and freedom. I definitely think it was a great thing. I can see how it is for kids today. Even here, and it's not nowhere near as fast as paced as the rest of the lower 48s, but just at how much of advanced it is now, and with the kids and the killings and the drugs and the gangbanging and all that stuff that I just now am starting to see with the kids here in the state of Alaska. It's been like that the whole time down in the States. And I didn't have to grow up in that. We didn't have kids killing kids where I grew up. So it's a lot different. I wish that for my kids that there was still a place that I could find that was like that. But I say that, and at the same token, I realize that it's a necessity that they see that now and grow up in it because that's the way the world is, and there's no hiding from it. I believe that my parents tried to do their best, as all parents, to shelter their kids from them situations, but the reality of it, it was coming no matter what. I think it all happened in my life at the right rate and the right speed because, I was able to avoid it and end up here. I definitely got involved with some things and went to prison and learned lots of stuff about that lifestyle. I grew up around bikers and drug users, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. I actually admired it and looked up to it, not even really realizing that the criminology that was being planted in my head for the rest of my life. So I can only imagine the turmoil that people that grew up in a big city have to fight. You get hardwired and programmed to live and believe and act and react a certain way due to your surroundings, and so I think that mine was a little bit easier than someone that grew up on the concrete. I grew up on the dirt and the sticks, and I didn't get to the concrete until I went to prison, and then I met the concrete and the asphalt. Yeah, I definitely appreciate the opportunity that I had to understand freedom, and to live it, and to cherish it, and to continue to try and hunt for it. And yeah, and not having to live that strict code. Not having to worry about what color shirt you're wearing, what color shoes you got on. You know what I'm saying? That's huge, and some kids literally have to do that. As a parent, you have to make sure your kid's not wearing a color that'll get them shot on their way home from school, and they're in elementary school. But that's real. That's not make-believe. That's real, man. That's really happens. Parents really have to do that, Then they become a product of their environment, It's definitely wide open spaces. It's definitely a beautiful place to live and a beautiful, beautiful childhood.
What was it like growing up?
So as far as growing up in Alaska and the drugs and the alcohol and where that led me in my life and where I'm at today, like I had mentioned, I grew up around and looked up to, bikers and drug addicts. And I didn't even know at the time that that's what they were. I just liked their spirit. I liked their attitude. I liked their carelessness. I liked their recklessness. I liked the adventure. I liked all those things were so attractive to me. So I was drawn to that. Like I said, it just programmed my brain to live that lifestyle. I didn't care about living and dying. I cared about today. I cared about having a good time. I cared about girls, fast cars, motorcycles, and drugs, and alcohol, and being fucked up and doing fucked up shit. That was my mentality for a very fucking long time of my life. That led me to it led me to be an unsavory character, to say the least. It led me to prison. It led me to multiple failed relationships. It led me to becoming a master manipulator and a liar and untrustworthy, a unstable parent and friend. It led me to alienating myself from social circles at random. Whenever I got tired of certain people, I would just rotate into another group of people at another part of town or the valley. All those things led me to prison. And then in prison, you know, I met even more people and even more criminal behaviors. It solidified the ideals and the programming in my brain. I felt just comfortable with these people. Like, here's all the people that I could get along with. You know, I fit right in, man. And I ran with it. And so what I learned was if I used drugs and got in trouble, I would go hang out with other people that used drugs and got in trouble. And there were drugs there. So I wasn't really losing the thing that I sought out the most. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, I definitely missed the women and my family at certain times of the year. For the most part, what I believe to be the necessities were there. You know, badass motherfuckers getting fucked up and doing fucked up shit and drugs.
Do you think maybe the structure of the whole biker society might have something to do with it too?
Yeah, I can't say that so much because I don't like structure. I mean, it works and I have structure in my life today, but at that time I didn't. I like to be free-willed, free-spirited, and be spontaneous as a motherfucker. And maybe that's what I seen that I was drawn to, is the spontaneousness of how they would just, you know, you show up and then all of a sudden, shit change. That type of spontaneousness, and that happens in incarceration as well. Everything can change immediately. You have to roll with it. The chaos, the confusion, thinking on your feet, you know, all of those life skills that I developed as that weren't really necessary, you know. You know, all these things led me to prisons and failed relationships and failed parenting. I have a few children. My first son was born when I was 19 years old. Clearly, I was addicted to drugs. That relationship didn't last. I do have a relationship with my son now. You know, he's 24 years old. Against all odds, a drug addict father that's been in and out of incarceration his entire life. And his mother, and her choices I choose not to speak on, he came out an unbelievably great child that did great at school and furthered his education after school and is living on his own, you know, down in the States, and has a Harley, you know, has a job and takes care of all his responsibilities and didn't in any way, shape, or form get wrapped up in drugs and alcohol. I have two other children that are not an immediate part of my life that are about 13. I had them after my first long prison stint. I was a little promiscuous and had two children within about a month of each other. I have a boy and a girl. They both live with their mothers. And it was a healthy thing to do at that time because I was not a stable parent. I wasn't a stable anything. Even though at that time I was trying to work on recovery, I'd had a couple of years of recovery, I wasn't dead set yet. And I had gotten a taste of it and I enjoyed it. Once I fell, I was so comfortable there. It was a fight to constantly battle myself to be somebody that I felt like I wasn't. And it was just so stressful and so much to do that when I fell down and fell back into using drugs, it was so comfortable. It was right where I wanted to be. It's where I knew, how I knew to live and how to behave. You know, I hear a lot of people say that they start using drugs because they felt so uncomfortable inside of themselves that when they've used drugs, they felt free and all this stuff. And that's the way I felt in society. This isn't who I am. I don't live like these people. You know what I mean? I don't understand all this shit because of my criminal programming, man, my criminology and all my shit and my fucking drug addict behavior my whole life. Anyway, that led me to, you know, that was kind of the beginning of my trying to stay out of prison. I spent an extensive amount of time in prison and I didn't really want to go back anymore. I don't like being that absent. So I dabbled in recovery and I got a little bit of time and I liked it. I liked success, man. I liked success. I just needed to be able to be successful and stay fucked up. That was all I needed to do, man. And if anyone could fucking do it, I can do it. If I want to do it, I'll get it done. So I struggled with that for a very fucking long time. And I failed miserably for a very fucking long time. With the belief that I've almost got it. I can do this. There's only one more thing. If they would just stop UAing me, everything's fine. I don't have a problem getting along with others, fitting in with society. I'm not robbing, I'm not stealing, I'm not selling drugs. I'm fucking going to work every day. I got nice shit. I'm in the fucking union. I just like to get high every day. Some people drink beer every day on the way home from work. I use fucking drugs, man. Can't the world just understand? They could just fucking understand that this is who I am, man. I ain't out to hurt nobody. I'm just out to make the best out of my life and enjoy doing it. I want to have a nice home. I want to have a family. I want to be a father. I want to be trustworthy. I don't want to be junked out. I just want to stay right in my little comfort zone and get along with everybody else, man, and let them live their lives. But what I found out is that a little becomes a little and a little becomes more. And eventually it catches up with me, whether, you know, it's a UA, or whether I'm out of work, or I'm hiding it from my fucking old lady, or I'm fighting, or whatever it is, man. It just never worked together. I just couldn't get the two to work together. And I tried everything to make the two work together until I had everything that I wanted. I had a wonderful wife and some wonderful children. I got the unconditional love that I've been looking for and searching for my whole life through my children and my spouse. That I decided that, okay, I had to give up the drugs because everything will work without them. And every time I use, something goes wrong. And I was no longer willing to risk losing what I had. I had more, and I was happier than any drug had ever made me in my fucking life. I can't say that just get sober and all your motherfucking dreams will come true, because it's not the reality. It's not. But I know that getting loaded isn't gonna fix it. I know that. My using wasn't based on trying to solve problems. My using was based on selfishness and my desire to fucking feel good, man. It was a reward system. It was a way of life. And all those things have been a real challenge to get out of my system because everything's a fucking trigger. At every stop sign, every gas station, every fucking house, every driveway, every road that you fucking drive by in this state, I fucking sat there and got high. Everything's a fucking trigger for me. The reality was I had to put staying sober above everything else in my life. No. I had to put my family above everything else in life. And that had to become my 100% guaranteed goal, is that this is what I want. And I wanted it more than I wanted to get high. And once that happened, things got a lot easier in my life. Once I stopped trying to make them work together, and I just surrendered, and I just gave up on drugs. Life worked. Because I was right, because I am smart enough. Because I do have a good moral fucking compass, man. No matter, even with all that criminal belief, all that shit that was pumped into my fucking brains over the years of being a fucking drug addict and a fucking convict, I did know the difference between right and wrong. Now I learned, or I seen in other people and I envied, and I applied those things to my life to create the person that I am today. I believe that I have all the tools necessary to be successful in life and to be a healthy, successful member of society. There was a relapse in my life. My wife was sober for 3 years, working at a treatment center. I've been sober for a while. I just did a couple years in prison and got out. And we were having some marital issues, man, and shit, and this and that. And anyway, my wife relapsed, man, and then I relapsed with her, and then her work turned her in. OCS got called, and my kids got taken out of my home and are in foster care. Now, nobody's relapsed since. Everything's been fine. There was no drug paraphernalia found in the home. My wife didn't test positive for drugs when this thing was reported. I was in an inpatient treatment center when the report was made because we were already taking the appropriate actions. It wasn't a long stretched out thing. But anyway, where I'm at today is I have an open OCS case with 2 of my most prized possessions of my ever-loving life locked in somebody else's home. I get to visit them every day, well, 5 out of 7 days a week, and we're working towards reunification. With that said, 40 fucking years of using drugs and in and out, over 80 incarcerations and X many fucking felony charges and repeated relapses and drug fucking UAs and my prison fucking record ain't real fucking pretty either. Well, that state of Alaska, they don't really think that I'm too good of a person, and they don't think that I should probably be around my kids. They don't think that I should be a good role model to other people. So they got some misgivings, man, and they got some real caution tape put up, for lack of better terms, on moving forward. But I'm gonna keep doing the right thing, and because I know this, man, I know the rules. You keep the fucking tires on the asphalt, you stay in your motherfucking lane, and you don't hit the guardrail, and you'll make it where you're going. So as long as I don't pick up a drug or commit a motherfucking crime, I will get my kids back. It's gonna take some time. It happened last July, so we're battling now about getting in-home visitation with the children. We get them 5 days a week, you know what I'm saying, for 3 hours a day, which is a lot more than most people get, man. Man, I believe that's going to work out all right. Because I know that there's an ultimate person that makes the decisions in life, man, and it's not me, and it's not the caseworker, and it's not the rest of OCS, and it will be resolved in the right way. If there's some more things that God has in store for me that I need to learn so that I am even a better person that I'm not seeing, man, because I'm not a closed fucking box. I've learned one thing, and that's to open your mind to other fucking people's perspective, and to, just because I don't see it, don't mean it ain't there. I don't as much as I like to believe I know it all and can see everything and the smartest motherfucker on the planet, I know I'm missing something somewhere, but I'll find it with the help of others, and if I just keep walking forward. Sober every day, man, and working a program of recovery and talking to my sponsor, I do have to admit that there's a higher power of some kind out there, man. People call it aliens, some people call it Jesus, some people call it God, whatever you want to call it. I believe that all of them have the same thing in common, and that there's a creator, and that the path is set before you, and you get to choose which road you get to take.